Buried gold, just the phrase, conjures up images of outlaw bandits and X marking the spot. But did you know there's probably some buried treasure right here in the gem state?
Well, Mark, people still comb an area in eastern Idaho looking for the riches. News Channel 7's Justin Corr headed out there himself, and he found a story a century and a half in the making.
Eastern Idaho, a high desert landscape marked by some sagebrush, farmland, and volcanic rock.
But historians agree, buried somewhere next to this creek, beneath this ground or hidden in lava rocks, is stolen gold.
The story of the Portneuf gold starts on the other side of the state in 1865, just 2 years after Idaho became a territory and mining drove the economy.
That was their way of life. It was with a weapon and survival of the fittest.
Erica Cook is the photo archivist at the Idaho State Historical Society and has studied the lawlessness of Idaho's territorial times.
People just sort of did what they want and they killed who they want.
One of the biggest criminals in Idaho at that time was the first elected sheriff of Ada County, Big Dave Updike.
They first told me about this story and I thought, wow.
Updike's kingpin-like status came as a big shock to the current Ada County Sheriff, Gary Rainey, when he learned of his history.
I think he was a criminal that the gang, really the outlaw gang, helped get elected as sheriff to protect their criminal activities.
He ruled by intimidation.
No photo of Updike still exists, but records of his criminal activity do. Mainly the 1865 robbery of the Portneuf Stage. That happened just 3 miles from where Jake Putnam grew up, between what is now McCammon and Ingham in eastern Idaho.
They had the firepower and they had the means to pull this thing off.
In a bloody robbery that killed 5 people, Sheriff Updike and 3 of his gang stole gold being transported by stage from Montana to Salt Lake City.
It was, I think, 2 strong boxes filled with gold bars, 18 gold bars, a bunch of coins, and also some gold dust.
The haul was worth then around $80,000. Today, that gold could be worth up to $4 million.
Our citizens were intensely shocked to hear the intelligence of the horrid murders and daring robbery of the passengers by last coach from Montana at Portneuf Canyon on Thursday last.
This is the original story from the July 22nd, 1865 edition of the then tri-weekly Idaho Statesman. Ironically, an ad for a livery stable run by Updike appeared on the exact same page. The article ended with the hope that
and these fiends on first sight hurled to the deepest hell that willingly will hold them.
Those wanting justice didn't have to wait long. Less than a year after the robbery, 2 of the gang were hanged for crimes in other states, and the Payette vigilantes took the law into their own hands, going after the then former Sheriff Updike.
It was around this area in Rocky Canyon, just north of Boise, that the Payette vigilantes found Dave Updike and one of his accomplices. But what they didn't find was the stolen gold.
They asked him, they said, "Where's the gold? What happened to gold?" And Big Dave told him to go to hell. Someone grabbed a noose, they threw it around a tree, and they hung him.
Justice does prevail, and his prevail at the end of a noose. And I really hope that I don't go out the same way, but...
No gold was found on any members of the gang, and the final robber never surfaced, but few believe he escaped with the loot.
It was about 800 pounds in gold bars alone.
Because of the weight, the fact the gold bars were stamped and traceable, and they were in a hurry, most people believe the gang stashed the gold nearby.
They wanted to get rid of that gold as quick as possible.
As the years passed, the state grew. Mining diminished, vigilantes gave way to real lawmen, and old stagecoach roads became overgrown. But the gold was never found.
I think the gold's still out there.
I think 10 to 15 miles would be the limit from that robbery site.
That site is right near the appropriately named Robber's Roost Road and the back door of Frank Huff.
But I can't sit on the lava rocks and stuff and look down that canyon without picturing stagecoaches and stuff coming up that old trail, you know.
Frank has lived here for more than 60 years and sees people come through every year looking to unearth history and the buried treasure.
Metal detectors and shovels and twitches and You name it. I've seen them try about everything, you know.
Frank himself has found relics of the past, but no gold.
I think it's already been spent. I really do. I think it would have been found.
But the possibility of millions of dollars in gold just waiting to be discovered keeps bringing people back to this rural area and has kept this bit of Idaho's past alive for almost a century and a half.
We would often go down and look in those areas for the gold. Just think of the thrill of finding 18 gold bars and really finding a piece of Idaho history.
Yeah, I think probably someday it's going to be found, but who knows?
The whole idea of Idaho as the Wild West will never go away, and I think it's just because of how, you know, people identify themselves with the land, and, you know, it's part of the history.
So whether the gold really is still in this area or whether it's long gone, people will continue to come here to search for it and to tell the story. Near McCammon, I'm Justin Corr, Idaho's News Channel 7.
Just think, $4 million could be out there. If you do find that treasure, experts say since an insurance policy was already paid on the gold back in the 1800s, you likely have a right to it. But they also say you can expect claims for that gold to come out of the woodwork.
I saw Justin driving a new car recently. I wonder if he already found that gold. Stay tuned.